What up, Detroit Lions fans? Stephen Will, Detroit Den 313. If you're a Lions fan, I don't know what you're doing. I don't know why you haven't hit that subscribe button. Helps us out, gives you guys good content to watch weekly, daily. Well, I think we're past the negative, all right? We've accepted the fact that we got our butts whooped the other day. Some people want to grasp onto that and just run with it and just live miserable lives. But here at Detroit 10 313, we're moving on, right? Well, what are we talking today?
First things first, Steve. Hit the subscribe button. Think about becoming a member. After that, if you're gonna say what up, it's what up, though. Get it together.
I don't know if I can pull that off, if I'm being honest with you.
Get it together. You can pull it off. You're a Detroit fan. You're in Detroit quite often. Let's get it together. Anyways, today we're gonna be talking about week 1, NFC North. What the heck did we learn? What do we know now? How are we feeling? Just all of the things, all of the vibes, man. Because I think there was a lot of information that we figured out from week 1 in our division and where we stand. Minnesota Vikings and Chicago Bears played a game yesterday. I think there was some sprinkles of information that are going to be key for the Detroit Lions moving forward. Some things that made me feel good. Some things that kind of got me on edge. We'll get into it, and then obviously our game with the Green Bay Packers and what we learned for that, Steve. So that's where we're going. It's up to you, man. Where you want to start this thing?
I think first and foremost, it's the Green Bay Packers, in my opinion, are the top dogs in the NFC North, and it crushes my soul to say that, Will, but I'm fair. All right, I thought that even before the Bears and the Vikings played on Monday Night Football, I said I don't think either one of those teams is going to be as impressive as the Green Bay Packers were. So I think I stood correct with that. I'm going to stand with it. I think the Packers are the top dogs right now. They play great offense, great defense, great offensive line, good defensive line. They can rush the passer. They got a running back that had 1,300 yards last year. Jordan Love, maybe not 1,000% on him, but I think he's trending upwards, I'll say at the very least. So I think the Packers are the top dogs. And then I watched that game last night with the Vikings and the Bears, and I didn't see anything that scares me about those two teams. William, would you agree with that assessment so far?
Absolutely not.
Oh, I'm probably nuts then, huh?
I wasn't gonna say you're nuts, but maybe I don't use the word scared, but I use the word it makes me very uncomfortable.
With what?
JJ McCarthy. He makes me very uncomfortable. Me very uncomfortable. And I don't know, Steve. Bottom line, I know he's a winner. That's what makes me uncomfortable. The fact that he's a winner. There's been a stat being tossed around since JJ McCarthy has been a sophomore in high school. He is 64-3 as a starter. 64-3. Since last night, this morning, and yesterday, I've seen it multiple times. Pat McAfee, a couple different places, some TikTok clip. Aaron Jones talking about JJ McCarthy. Second half, they're down. This thing is just unraveling. JJ McCarthy comes to the huddle, looks at those guys and says, man, what better place to be right now? What better place to be? Aaron Jones said he looked around like, man, we got a dude. We got a dude. Cool, calm, collected, and went on to lead those guys back to a comeback victory versus the Chicago Bears. So if you're asking me if any of that makes me uncomfortable, yes, because, Steve, we draft the way that we do with the thought process of drafting winning guys, drafting guys that are tough, gritty, hardworking guys that are winners. The Minnesota Vikings drafted a winner, and we're going to have to deal with that twice a year, if not 3 times, for a long time because he's only a baby. That makes me a little bit uncomfortable. So maybe not scared, but definitely uncomfortable because the most important position on a football field is the quarterback position. They got a winner at the quarterback position who can do more things than our guy, meaning I watched him be mobile. I watched him rush for, I don't know, a 15-yardish touchdown in a key moment. I watched him extend plays, make guys miss, unblock guys, +1 guys in protection that are coming clean. I seen him make those guys miss. All things that our guy Jared Goff can't do. It makes me uncomfortable. Now, am I saying that he's better than Jared Goff at this current moment? I'm not saying that at all, but I'm seeing that there's a lot of potential there, and it makes me uncomfortable, Steve. So, for those reasons, that's one of the things on my list that I gotta highlight. JJ McCarthy being in our division, being a winner, being 64-3 as a quarterback, a starting quarterback since high school. I'm on notice about
William, are you absolutely nuts? I'm going to steal your line. Are you absolutely nuts, Will? His first touchdown was to the other team. I don't give a shit what he was in high school. I was 115-0 in NCAA 14. It doesn't mean shit in the NFL. He didn't look good until maybe at like the 11-minute mark of the fourth quarter where he kind of took over a game. But before that, I said, man, I don't know. JJ looks kind of average to me. And then he had a fourth quarter. Yeah, he had 3 touchdowns in that fourth quarter. But up until that, his stat line was trash. He made some throws. Every quarterback's going to make some throws. You don't get to the NFL if you can't make a couple throws here or there. I don't think he was the greatest thing since sliced bread. I mean, I really don't understand. And I saw the stat too with his high school college record. That's great. I mean, Michigan football won games without having to throw a forward pass in a whole second half against Penn State. Like, it's kind of an inflated stat, if you ask me. Great, cool, impressive record. I think Ken Dorsey, when he came out of the University of Miami, he only had like 2 losses. Didn't really translate to the NFL. So I'm not really worried about what he's done in the past. And it's still a very, very small sample size being 1 game. But up until late in the game, I was kind of thinking like, man, we're going to eat JJ alive. Like, he's making some mistakes. He's missing some throws. Like, I wasn't overly impressed with him, Will. I thought he really did take command. He took over late in the game and got the win. That's all that matters. But domination, am I worried about 5-6 years from now? No, I'm not worried, Will.
That's fair. You're entitled to your opinion. I just completely disagree. When I'm looking at traits, there's certain traits that I like. He has them. There was a lot of questions about him coming out of college. I had those questions as well. He answered them. He was unfazed. He was poised in the toughest moments of a football game. In his first start in the NFL, he's virtually a rookie, just the same as we talk about with guys like Christian Mahogany. Hasn't played a lot of football. He went out there as a rookie in his first start and got busy. Was unfazed by the moment. That's a guy that I worry about. Now, there's a lot of them in the NFL. At the end of the day, if we play against Patrick Mahomes, I'm planning on winning. But that doesn't mean I don't respect where he's coming from, respect his game, and respect his potential. That's just where I'm at with it. The guy looked like a dude. Was it beautiful? Absolutely not. But I wouldn't expect your first start to be beautiful. But I also wouldn't expect in your first start that you're a guy that looks at those guys in the huddle and says, we got this, unfazed. I don't know if he meditated right before he went out there. If you guys know anything about him, he's one of those guys that does some different things. So don't want to turn this into a JJ McCarthy show. Just respect what he did, man, and I'm on notice. I don't think that by any means he's a guy that's going to be unbeatable. Nobody is, but yeah, when I start talking about that opposite guy, right, that he was playing against, who had the nice lead, I saw some things that I liked from him in Caleb Williams. I saw a guy who wasn't accurate with the football. I saw a guy who did get hot, but then got cold. I like that too. I like a guy who gets hot and cold. I see a guy that when the moment got hot, he started to fall apart a little bit, in my opinion. Those are all things that I like. So I think that Caleb Williams has every talent that you need to play the quarterback position, but I don't know if he has it in between the ears. So I guess in the Caleb Williams situation, I got a little bit of a warm and fuzzy for what I saw out of him. And in the JJ McCarthy situation, what he did made me uncomfortable. That's where I sit in the quarterback situation. But Steve, I got to highlight this. When I think about every quarterback in our position or in our division, every one of them have the ability to be able to extend plays. We have the only quarterback in the division who's not going to be able to take a +1 situation, make that guy miss, and go make a play. Jared, you got to be perfect, man. You got to be perfect. And if you're not going to make that guy miss, you got to account for him, make sure he's blocked, and we got to shore up these offensive line issues. What the Green Bay Packers did from an offensive line standpoint, when we played our stunt games and our blitzes, the way they passed guys off, the way they picked them up, it was phenomenal. we have to figure that out. So that's another thing that I'm gonna notice about what I saw from this division week 1. The Chicago Bears did a good job with their veteran offensive line that they picked up in free agency. They did a good job in a lot of moments, man, where the Minnesota Vikings were doing their blitzes, they were doing their stud games, and the Bears were picking it up, giving Caleb Williams time. And when he didn't have time, there was a +1. He extended the play. So that's all things that I noticed. I got some more, but those are key things that I noticed. Steve, we're in the NFL now where most of these quarterbacks are athletic. Jared Goff isn't the most athletic guy. Is that something that makes you uncomfortable, or you think we're good?
It's not breaking news. It's like we knew that when we traded for him. It's the pocket passing quarterback is a dying breed. Like it's Jared Goff, Joe Flacco, Stafford. Like those are the only three I can think of off the top of my head that are like the last of the true pocket passers anymore. And actually, maybe Stafford in his younger days was a little bit able to boot out and do a little bit, but nothing crazy. It's a dying breed. I mean, it's a narrative that just keeps getting talked about. We know, like every channel you turn into is talking about how Jared Goff's immobile. We know we have to keep him upright. We know we have to be perfect in the passing game. And when we are, he plays like an MVP. Like it's like he's an absolute assassin when the pocket's clean. His biggest issue is going to be when you pressure him directly up the middle and he can't move laterally. He doesn't have the agility or the speed to get away. He's broken a couple tackles and extended a play here or there, but he's not a Josh Allen or he's not anyone who's going to be on ESPN for, getting out of 3 guys trying to take him down. But it's just the way the Lions are built. And we said this after the draft, like you have to draft according to what you have at quarterback. And that's why we tried to beef up the offensive line. So far, doesn't look good. Hopefully it gets fixed. But we kind of have to cater our team around the inabilities of Jared Goff. And I'm not saying that is a bad thing. It's just it's just the nature of the beast. It's just the way it is. But if we could find a way to give him time, I think he's potentially a top 5 quarterback in the league. But it's the pressures they get to him, and then sometimes just the stupid plays. But I've been very critical of Jared Goff. Like this whole offseason, he's our quarterback. He's going to be what turns the wheels for us. All right. If we're not playing good football, he's probably not playing good football. We don't have an elite defense, in my opinion, that I've seen yet. I think they could show up and maybe help him out a little bit, but week 1 didn't look like an elite dominant defense to me. So Jared Goff, is it a liability? Yeah, but I mean, that's been the story since he was drafted in 2016. So it's really nothing new.
Hey, you're not wrong. You're not wrong, man.
Never been wrong, Will.
Oh, you were wrong a few weeks ago.
I actually texted you something I was wrong about last night, but yeah, we'll save that for another episode. Maybe we swung and missed again in the draft, but we'll save that one.
We'll see. Steve, another thing that I got highlighted here, bright spot that I learned about our division, our team, is that we got another playmaker, another one, as DJ Khaled would say. Isaac Tesla. Ooh, we got to get that boy some touches. We got to get him some touches. We got to get him some targets. After week 1, him being on the field for 3 plays and having 1 touchdown. And yes, guys, I did locate a jersey.
Oh, you didn't have to get a custom one?
Yeah, I did locate one. So yeah, that'll be coming in here soon. But and we'll do some type of giveaway for that. But that said, we got another playmaker, which I think is huge for the Detroit Lions, especially if we're going to be in need of some red zone answers. We struggled in the red zone in week 1. Hey, having a guy to throw up a 60-40 ball is something that gives me a warm and fuzzy. Steve, how you feeling about Isaac, and do you think that he'll be able to assist us in a major way in the red zone?
You took the words right out of my mouth, Will. Stole my thunder. That's really like, if that's the only place I saw Tesla at was in the red zone, I'd be okay with that. I would like to see him incorporated a little bit more, but if you're telling me that's the only way you could get him in is when we're inside the 20, I'm okay with that as a rookie, but I think we can get us some more work. And Dan kind of hinted at that the other day, that they had him involved a little bit more. And then last week, middle of the week, he started to get a little sick, so he wasn't in practice a lot. And Dan said that they didn't feel comfortable giving him the workload that they were trying to prepare. So I do think we will see more of him, but our red zone offense, absolutely atrocious. Like, we got down to the 20s. We moved it between the 20s okay at times. We got down there in the scoring area and just kind of like At times we went backwards or we hit a wall, couldn't get anything going. At the very least, he's a 6'3" kid who made an incredible catch and has shown that he can make incredible catches. He's got a crazy catch radius. If that's just at least keeping a defense honest, if we got a little corner on him that's 5'8", 5'9", that's automatically a mismatch. Well, not many corners in this league are above 6 feet. I'd have to look. I'm sure someone will throw out a stat and say, oh, there's actually like 48% or whatever. I don't know. But I feel like he's a matchup nightmare in the red zone because he could just catch everything. He's got sure hands. Like, this kid was hindered when he was at Arkansas because of poor quarterback play. And I said, I'm curious to see what he could do with a good quarterback in Goff when he's protected and see what he could do. And I think at the very least, he could help our red zone offense because it was doo-doo in your pants bad on Sunday, William.
Yeah, it wasn't good, man, but let's let that go because it's going to be good this coming week. So, Steve, one thing that makes me uncomfortable, and you already mentioned it a little bit, but that I learned about our division is Green Bay's defense is for real.
Mm-hmm.
They're for real. And you're not going to be able to let Green Bay get leads because if they get a lead, they're going to pin their ears back, and there's going to be a rough day for any team in the NFL. Again, when you're talking about Quay Walker, when you're talking about Edrin Cooper, when you're talking about Rashawn Gary, and when you're talking about Micah Parsons, all being on the same defense, and I didn't even mention Xavier McKinney. I didn't even mention who's looking like a stud, who kind of was a flop at first, and Van Ness. Steve, they got some dogs out there, Steve.
It's a problem.
And you made mention to it the other day about how we were wanting freaks. And I think that it was trench warfare for you. And I said my theme for the offseason was freaks. I wanted freaks. I wanted freak athletes. And the Detroit Lions have decided to go a different route. I've watched a couple of times when our guys, our winners, our guys that do the right things, when they've been in situations where they need to be athletic and they've left a little bit to be desired. On the touchdown to Tucker Kraft, Jack Campbell was playing what, for lack of a better words, I'll call catchman technique, meaning he's kind of sitting flat-footed, waiting to see which way Tucker's going to break and then reacting and trying to get underneath him. And Tucker just he was a better athlete. He just had more athleticism in that moment. And he got around Jack Campbell, had some separation, was able to get underneath Brian Branch in that moment. Jack Campbell is a tough, gritty football player. And I know that his RAS score, it was super, super amazing.
Damn near perfect.
He's not the most athletic dude in the world. Like, when he gets matched up with some of these tight ends, when he gets matched up with a running back, he's not a guy that I'm expecting to win those foot races or agility competitions. It's just not what I expect from him. I expect him to be a downhill stack linebacker and be stout in the run game. And it shows in those moments. That worries me because you know who I expect to win those matchups in those athletic situations? Quay Walker, Edrin Cooper, guys that we were pounding the table wanting. So we went in a different direction. And I know we can't say, hindsight is 2020 and go back in time, but that's something that I'm on notice about. I'm on notice about how Green Bay has decided to form their defense and how we've decided to form ours. We're a tough, physical, gritty football team. We're going to not allow you to run the football. You're not going to knock us off the line of scrimmage. Green Bay has said, you can knock us off the line of scrimmage. We'll run your ass down. So it's two completely different styles. But Coach Shep, you got to make our style work. And they're tied to the hip of this offense. If we cannot score the ball, right, we're going to have problems. We need to score the ball and help this defense out. Otherwise, teams are going to come in here and they're going to stress us out, and it's going to be rough Sundays, and it's not going to be dominant Sundays, which is what I've come accustomed to over the last couple of seasons. So that's another thing that I've just been unnoticed about. Green Bay super athletic. It's going to be interesting to see how we attack them the next time they come around. Am I in a space to where I think it can't be competitive? No, I still think that we got the upper hand because as long as they don't get a lead, I think that we out physical them. I love to leak. And Coach Campbell has put all of his chips on the table. There's no secrets. Every time pass rush gets talked about, he continues to mention crushing the middle of the pocket. That's what he wants to do. He's not looking for super fast edge rushers to beat you with speed. He's looking for guys to crush the middle of the pocket and make it uncomfortable in that quarterback's face. That's what we bet the farm on being successful. Talik, Alim, when you come back, DJ Reader in the meantime, you guys better get it done. He's gave the sauce on the opposite end of Aiden Hutchinson. He wants a guy who can be stout in the run game and he can slam the back door so Aiden can go get his sacks. That's what Marcus Davenport was. It just wasn't successful for us. But guys, stop asking for all of these sexy, exotic pass rushers. It doesn't fit our scheme. It doesn't fit what our coach wants. So our cards are on the table, and it's just now a matter of if it works or if it doesn't. If it works, we're going to continue to have success. If it doesn't, we're going to be looking at probably asking some questions, and things are going to get really uncomfortable.
You know who else I thought looked good in week one that it wasn't in our division, Will, but I remember watching and keeping a close eye on? Guy by the name of Jihad Campbell, who played for the Eagles and was covering slot receivers and putting them in his back pocket and covering running backs coming out of the backfield anytime he was put in pass coverage. A guy who was a converted defensive end at Alabama who could rush the passer, and they switched him to some type of hybrid linebacker safety. Yeah, we passed on him too, Will. At some point, I don't know. At some point, we got to take a risk, okay? I feel like in the first round, like we're just – hey, man, like, yeah, we'll take this guy. We can make it fit. We'll take a J-Mo. We know he's hurt. You know, we'll take a Jahmyr Gibbs. You know, can't really miss there. There's no gamble. I feel like we're at the point now where maybe it's time for a gamble. All right, love Tyleik Williams. He was very, very high on my radar. As soon as a couple other guys went in the draft, I started thinking it's really Tyleik Williams or Ezaraku or a couple other guys on my list. Like I think I was down to 4, and Tyleik was one of them. Great. Fits the need, Ali McNeil being out, but I don't know, Will. I feel like we're just passing on a lot of great players because we just have question marks about them. And then I go watch them play for any other team. And it's like, I mean, I know I'm not an NFL scout. I'm not an NFL GM, but I'm just doing in the office. I can see some talent. What does Brad see that's different? That's what I'm having a hard time grasping because I go watch them play for the Eagles, the Packers, or whatever other team it may be, the Rams, who have had tons of players that I've loved, and they go out there and they're winning Defensive Rookie of the Year, and we're passing on them. And I'm just like, hey, man, it's kind of frustrating to me. So I don't know. It's not a draft show, but I get it. Like, it's just the nature of the beast. I don't think Jack Campbell is a solid pass defender. I think if this were 1996, he'd probably be one of the best linebackers in the league, but it's a different brand of football where you have to be able to cover guys. And I don't see Jack doing that at an elite level for a top 20 pick for me. So I'm not going to call it a miss. I'm not saying I want Jack gone or he's gone after this contract, but can we start seeing maybe a little bit of Grant Stewart or someone with a little bit more athleticism on defense? Will you think that's something that could potentially help?
Situationally, definitely. I definitely think situationally it'll be something that can help because what's the next liability situation that we're going to be talking about? We're going to be talking about these mobile quarterbacks. So you're going to need to find a way to have Grant Stewart on that field with Alex Anzalone and maybe Malcolm Rodriguez when he comes back. And I know that's long term, but Derek Barnes is somebody that can run as well. It's going to have to be different combinations. I do wonder how often is this athleticism situation going to be a thing for Jack? Because I'll tell you this, I can't think of a lot of tight ends who I'm picking Jack to match up well with. I can't think of a lot of running backs that I'm picking Jack to match up with. And in this NFL, there's a lot of them situations to where these guys are catching slot receivers, they're catching tight ends, they're catching running backs. I watched in last night's game multiple times, and Aaron Jones caught a touchdown on one, but they went after guys multiple times that Noah Sewell got caught man-to-man with Aaron Jones, and it got thrown for a touchdown. It's what we ask these guys to do in this NFL is different, just like you said, than the olden days where these were just downhill smash mouth football. It's not what this is anymore. I feel like Jack's a blast from the past. I just don't know how this thing is going to work out. So I found out, Steve, from week 1, just to bring this thing together, I found out Green Bay Packers defense is crazy athletic. I found out that Coach Campbell put all his chips out here, and we are a team that's going to try to crush the middle of the pocket and have our success by crushing the middle of the pocket, not by outside pass rushers. And then Aiden's going to be the only guy that's pinning his ears back trying to get after this quarterback. I found out that we better have a doggone good plan for getting Aiden in situations where he can get one-on-ones, whether it's blitzing, stunt games, whatever. We got to move him around. He cannot just line up on either edge and think that he is going to be able to get his work done. No. They were more than prepared for that. We're going to have to find some things out. These freaking quarterbacks in our division are all athletic. We better figure out a way to wrangle those guys and put pressure on them and have plus ones that can get them down with the speed matching. Because I watched Caleb Williams running away from linebackers yesterday, like leaving them in the dust. I didn't even know he was that fast. So JJ McCarthy, got to be on notice for him being a winner. I know Steve is like not too high on it, but I'm on notice about it. Not scared, but I'm on notice that this dude's he's looking like a guy that's got it in between the ears and he's got the physical tools. I know it's only been 1 week. I need to see more on it, but I'm on notice and I'm watching it. These are all things that I learned about this division. The last thing that I'm going to have for you, Steve, is the Chicago Bears are 0-1. The Detroit Lions 0-1. Words have been tossed around like must win going into Ford Field against these Chicago Bears. Are you looking at this as a must win football game at Ford Field?
Yes. It 100% for me is a must win. And I know you're in this boat. You take it one game at a time. I look ahead. I look at the schedule and I say, damn, if we don't beat the Bears, are we going to the Ravens on Monday Night Football? Because they look like a top 3 team in the NFL, even though they lost the other night. Are we going into, Cleveland, I thought we play them coming up. We play the Bucs coming up. They give us a hard time. And then I think it's Cleveland who gave the Bengals a tough game. And then I think we got at the Bengals, who's wanting to be a playoff team with an elite offense. So I just look at like a 4 to 5 week block on the schedule. And I just say 2 games against division opponents. You can't go 0-2 to start the season in the division. You're already probably thinking wild card at best after week 2, which is your season's not over. But if you have any hopes of winning the division, this is a must win. If your goal is to just make the playoffs, we'll be okay. We could be okay. We should be okay. But I think that this is a must win. My standard is we're the Kings of the North. I feel like the Lions roster wise got better. Some other teams have probably obviously closed the gap on us, Green Bay Packers. So if we wanted to win the division, I don't see how you can start the season out with 2 division losses, but we could still make the playoffs, no, for sure. But it's a must win for me, Will. I plan on winning the division.
I still plan on winning the division as well, Steve. I like where your head is. I'm not going to go must win. I think it puts us in a rough situation if the Green Bay Packers find a way to win on Thursday Night Football and they're 2-0 and we're 0-2 and we're looking at a 1-1 Bears team, and I don't know who the Minnesota Vikings got, but I think it does put us in a rough situation if either one of those teams start 2-0. But I'm not going to go must win. I think that it does put us into a must-win situation in week 3, though. If we obviously if we go down, but I'm not expecting us to go down. The Chicago Bears didn't do anything that made me afraid of them. I respect them, but I'm not afraid of them. I just think I would love to see us show up, show out, and really be dominant. I'm not going to go too far past that because we got a game day show that we'll be doing. But I'm really expecting us to look a lot better and a lot sharper coming into this game against the Chicago Bears. Big one with that that guy, our old OC out there as the head coach. If we don't, I'm going to be really uncomfortable. But also going into week 2, last thing, I want to see if the Green Bay Packers are for real because I respect their defense. I respect their style, but I'm not a believer yet. I think the way that you beat the Green Bay Packers is you out physical. They're smaller, speedy, athletic, and agile guys. So I'm interested to see what goes on Thursday Night Football. I'm going to be watching that closely. Now, if the Green Bay Packers go out there and take care of business again and look dominant, then I'm going to be on notice like, whoa, look out for these boys.
Time will tell. I'll also be paying close attention Thursday. That's 2 good teams. Commanders went to the NFC Championship game last year. Not a great defense, but I know they added quite a few pieces. They got better on offense and defense, offensive line, added Deebo Samuel, picked up some guys in free agency on their D-line and bolstered up. So I think that could be one of the better week 2 matchups, if I'm being honest. Like that's probably the game I'm looking forward to the most other than the Lions. We got our home opener. I know that's going to be rowdy. It's going to be a nice little crowd. Plan on getting up there, doing some tailgating, having a good time, eating some bear meat at the end of the day. Well, that's all I plan on doing. So you got anything else for tonight?
I just want to highlight the fact, Steve, that my fantasy team in our league looked real dominant this week. That's all I got.
I can ask you one question, just a yes or no.
No, absolutely not.
Did you draft your team?
No, absolutely. I
Stick around, hit that like button. We'll be back later with another show.
Pete.